Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Great.
Yes, super.
Tickety-boo! Woohoo! What's news? Pussycats?
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No news, pussycats. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
It's been a very unnewsworthy 5 minutes.
It has indeed. Apart from telling my husband to reheat the meal that I put out
Eat
for
his
him.
dinner.
Eat your goddamn dinner, stop waiting for me. You'll be hangry by the time I get up there. Yeah.
What had you made for him?
Well, our box freezer is so full of food, it's not funny. So I've said to him, on a Tuesday night, I'm going to pull out stuff that I've pre-made that you aren't eating for lunches, which is why I made them, and that's what we're going to eat for dinner now, until we emptied half that freezer at least. But it's a Scotch broth, in answer to your question, is what we're having for dinner tonight. Yeah.
How much scotch do you put in it? It just sounds like a whiskey.
Is that a soup or is it like...
It's
Is
sort
it
of
more of
a
a stew?
thick, stewy soup. It's a soup, but it's very thick. It's sort of like a lamb stew, but not. My lamb stew's better.
Oh, it's like a stew, but it's watery.
No, it's not watery. It's thick. It's
Well,
but
it's
it's
just
not
got a
Frothy,
broth.
is it? No, I'm...
The broth is this... It's throwing me. It's sending me down
True.
a path that I don't think
Yeah.
you want me to be headed down.
Yeah.
because you put barley
That's
in
the
it, and
question.
that thickens it out. It thickens it out. But the reason I think it's a soup is because you cut everything up really finely,
Okay.
whereas when I do a stew, it's chunkier. So it's
Chunky,
less
yeah.
chunky than a soup. Than a stew.
Broth is the
So-
thing that's
It's
the
less
problem, though.
brothy
it's
than a
not.
broth.
It's not like a clear broth. It's not. It's
Oh,
not really
no.
a broth at all.
It's a muddy broth.
A chunky broth.
Chunky broth. Not to be confused with a stew.
That's right.
Correct. When we lived in the UK, I used to get Scotch broth, tins of Scotch broth from Aldi. No,
Mm.
Lidl. And they were delicious. I loved that shit. And that's what inspired me to make it. And then when I made it, I was like, I don't know what I'm missing, but there's something in it. Salt or pepper, flavour.
Preservatives.
God knows what, really.
Flavour. I don't know. Someone's recipe online I followed,
Broth.
but anyway, doesn't matter. All right. I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are
Trial
by
Wine.
Scotch broth.
Scotch trial by
yeah.
Scotch broth.
And what are we drinking?
You're on the Scotch broth.
Yeah.
Not yet. That's after this episode.
I'm on the wine broth.
I'm on the wine broth too. Swanee's got one of those sand.
Oh,
Santa
that's a
Ham.
ginormous one.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if would have watched this, Swanee. I'm not sure it's cool enough for you, but when we were kids, there was a show, Monkey Magic. Do you remember that?
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
what would you mean if I wasn't cool enough? My God,
No, no.
as long as you had the ABC, of course you knew about Monkey Magic.
Monkey Magic wouldn't be cool enough for you, but I don't know if you remember that, but often they would have like water bottles and they were like gourds and they were these funny shapes.
I don't remember that.
Every time you hold that bottle up, I think of Monkey Magic and it's like some kind of bizarre gourd.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry. So we're
Oh,
still on
God.
wine broth, but I'm drinking the Earthgate Estate HQ, lovely Shiraz. And boys, you're still on the feather top
So we're on the Tempranillo.
Tempranillo? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So we really are trial by wining tonight.
Are we ever? In our trial by one glasses.
Oh, aren't you good? Yes. aren't you
Nice.
good? And if you'd like a
Fancy.
trial by wine glass, you could reach out to us at trialbywine.gmail.com. By the way, I know we've got 25 listeners who reach out personally to Clarky and sometimes myself, but if there is anyone out there who is not one of our regular 25s from Australia who we happen to know personally, and you would like to recommend a story or give us some feedback, you are welcome to contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com.
Yes, including the new listeners from Kenya.
Yes, apparently we've had some downloads in Kenya.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Clarky, what have you got for us?
Well, I have a story, so that's a good start. I'll start with my sources because I always forget them. So beat.com.au and Wikipedia. So it's a very short list of sources. I did plagiarise a fair bit of this from Wikipedia because it was quite good. I've mixed and matched a bit, but it's also comes from Norway. So the way it was put together is, as English as a second language kind
Very
of
Norse
style. So
So
I'm going
for
to...
those purists amongst you, this is brought to you by Wikipedia.
Correct. Exactly right. Yes. Yeah, we AI'd it. So anyway, this story did come to me from a friend. It's the one I was telling you about, who's very gullible, and so one of the scam stories. When we caught up recently, she said that her husband and son went to see a band in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And the band is called Mayhem. And they're a Norwegian black metal band. I'm going to have to look at this image now because... So apparently her son is a big fan and wanted to go. And Dad, being a good dad, took him along. Have you heard of Mayhem?
I feel like I have.
Have you heard of Norwegian black metal?
No,
Anyway,
I don't have.
Does it go?
Yeah, it'd be one of those.
Yeah.
One of those ones you see in probably Eurovision every now and then. I hadn't heard of them, so I had a quick chat, and she told me the little bit about them that she knew, and I was shocked and said to her, straight to trial by wine for them.
Oh.
Here we are. I'm going to tell you a little story about the Norwegian black metal band. I'm not a big fan of any of that sort of really death metal, it's a genre that I just don't get, and maybe this story will help me understand why. As I said, my first source was beat.com.au. I don't know if you remember, but it was a music...
It's a music
newspaper kind of thing back in the day. So,
I was thinking of the gay beat.
yeah. Beatyourmeat.com.au.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. I was doing the wank hands at Carla.
Yeah.
What's the name of the
hands? Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Like I used to do it. I used like the Hampstead Heath. Isn't that like a notorious beat? Yeah,
that's where George Michael was found.
I know. I love that thing where he was on. I think it was Comic Relief or whatever, and he's up there, and he runs into Ricky Gervais, and he's telling them to move on because he's trying to find someone. And he was doing he was already doing like public service. What's it called when you do
community service?
Community service because he'd been caught, whatever. And Ricky Gervais like, George, he's like, come on. And then there's an old guy with me. He goes, oh, come on, I'll give you a go. And he goes, get away, old. I go, do you remember that?
No. I bet you'll be finding that clip in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Anyway, so this from beat.com.au, the other beat. Notorious Norwegian... Notorious Norwegian black metalers Mayhem returned to Australia for a 40-year celebration featuring original members Necro Butcher and Hellhammer.
Jeepers.
And I'm sure that's what they were christened at birth.
This is, 100%. We'll get to that.
Necro Butcher.
Necro Butcher and Hellhammer.
Necro Butcher and Hellhammer.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's plenty more to come.
Okay.
Then they go on to say utter carnage is set to be unleashed on Australia.
Is that a person though?
In January. No, it's not it's not a band member.
Based on
it's
the nomenclature
utter carnage
of the
as
band.
you know it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Is set to be unleashed on Australia in January as pioneer black metal act Mayhem hit our shores. So this is the way they described them coming to see Australia.
A beat up. Mm.
Well, yes. So you say that, right? And utter carnage, like, really? From a black metal band? Maybe. Well, maybe not actual utter carnage on this visit, but let me tell you a little bit about their past.
Utter carnage sounds like Sada Abe. It sounds like a name.
Yes. Well, maybe that's the name of this episode.
I think it is, yeah.
So Mayhem was founded in 1984 by guitarist Øystein Arseth.
Arseth, yeah.
Yeah, so that's his actual name. But in the band, he was initially known as Destructor.
Okay, yeah.
But later became Euronymous.
Euronymous, Your Honour.
Yeah, and I get so far into it that I forgot what the sentence was, but I'm telling you about the people who founded them. So there was the guitarist, Euronymous, bassist and vocalist Jon Stubberud, who was Necro Butcher.
And Necro Butcher sounds hardcore.
Yeah.
Well, he's just going cutting up dead bodies. I mean, come on, mate.
Well,
is he
killing people by cutting them up, or is he, once they're dead, cutting them up?
No, they're necro. They're dead already. He's just going around cutting up dead bodies.
Dead bodies.
Okay.
He's a necro butcher. He needs to work on his name.
Well, I mean, you say that, but the drummer, who
I
was
do.
also one of the founders, because he's the longest sentence in history, is named Kjetil Mannheim, and he doesn't even
Nailed
have
it.
a name.
He's just
Oh.
silence.
Like, he needs to work on his name more than Necrobutcher or Euronymous.
Euronymous.
The band
Does that mean something that I don't know?
No.
It'll work.
Well, you'll never know because
Euronymous.
you're not into the Norwegian black
The dark
metal.
web.
Well, I just wondered if it was like an amalgamation of two words or if it meant something I didn't know.
You're mixing the wrong circles.
How do you spell it?
Necrobutcher.
No, Euronymous.
Oh, Euro
It sounds
as
like
in
some mouse called
Eurovision.
Yeah,
Euronymous.
Euro. It's like he's
Nymus. Like Dixie Nymus.
Like, it's anonymous, but he's from Europe.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of a mouse that was called Geronimo or Geronimus. No, mouse. Anyway, I'm sure that's not the reference he's after. Right. So 1984.
It's been a slow start to the story.
Goodness.
Where were we? 1984.
Cracker. The band took their name from the Venom song, which I'm sure you'll know. It's a classic. Mayhem with Mercy. Never heard of it.
I don't know Venom.
And it had to precede 84, I presume, wherever Venom was as a band. If these guys are only created in 84.
I love that you're following this. Yeah.
That's all I've got. My one stake in the ground is 1984, and I'm just working around that at this point because I keep
following shit like that. I'm like, Euronymous, Necrobutcher, Silence.
So the lineup began performing cover songs by Black Sabbath, Venom, and Motorhead.
Okay.
Two
of those I've heard of. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Once they began to write their own music, their major influences were, you guessed it, Venom, Motorhead, Black Sabbath. And then it goes
what
on
a coincidence.
I know, what? Shocked. And then it goes on to say things like, Slayer. There's a whole range of them. Parabellum, Hellhammer.
Are they one of those ones that scream when they go, rah? Like, is it that kind of...
It's all that.
Yeah, there's some that are like that.
Noise.
Yeah, totally.
The boys at school used to listen to quite a lot of shit like that.
I'll tell you how I know that that's what they sound like, because they recorded their demo, and their demo was called "Pure Fucking Armageddon," which that just says that's.
But when you actually hear it, it's probably
screaming.
Yes. You can't even make out a word of it.
No.
Yeah.
What was the channel, Swanee? Do you remember there was a channel on Sky when we were in the UK that had lots of shit metal?
No, I don't.
Oh, when I was
there was a channel dedicated to
when I first went there and I was staying at Andy's house, and that's right, the ex-boyfriend, and he had a couple of lodges, and one of them was this quirky Indian bloke who loved death metal and some
Bollywood
game. No, some
Does
computer
death
game
metal predate? Sometimes I get a bit confused with what death metal is and what, like, if you're talking about Black Sabbath, is Black Sabbath death metal, or did death metal come after that? Do you know what I mean?
Is this even death metal, or did I go too far with that?
I feel like back in the day it was all just heavy metal. But
heavy metal, and then death metal became a thing. And I don't really know the definition, but it just feels like there's even more screaming and more like darkness.
Darkness,
yeah. So that's what I just think, I guess that's death metal. And certainly when I was at school, I don't remember us calling that. I remember it being heavy metal.
Yeah.
If you talked about you were talking about heavy metal. So maybe the transition or the emergence of death metal came around that time if we were in there.
And then we might have retro-categorized them.
Yeah,
it came from Kerrang.
It was Kerrang. No, Kerrang was the name of the TV channel.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Shit.
It was awful.
But free.
Yeah.
Should we go back to the story, do you reckon?
I'm just telling you that Kerrang was a channel dedicated to this shit music. Yeah, go on.
So I'm going to try to use their stage names instead of their real names.
Yeah,
because you can't say their real names.
They're probably easier to say.
Job of it. No. Oh, and I just think it'll be funnier because then it'll seem like we're not talking about real people.
Oh.
So soon after they recorded the demo Pure Fucking Armageddon, they being Euronymous and Necrobutcher, recruited two session members, Messiah and Maniac. I'm not even going to tell you their real names because I feel like it's funnier if you don't know.
Bob.
This was around sort of 86, 87. Messiah performed at only one concert in 1985.
It's like that drummer for the Beatles.
Yeah, in Sky, or Ski probably is. And then he left at the end of the year. However, Maniac stayed and Mayhem recorded their first EP, Death Crush, in 1987, which was released through Euronymous' newly formed label, Poser Corps Music.
Poser. Mm-hmm.
Poser.
Is there a crime coming with these people?
You better believe it. Honestly, there is a massive crime coming. It's fucking ridiculous. Brace yourself.
God.
Yeah. But you need to hear
I feel like we've got bookends. Do you know, I feel like, well, we know they've been in Australia and we know this has, it's like something's going to happen in the middle, and I'm like, I've got no idea where we're headed with this, which is good.
Yeah. So Mannheim, he's the one who didn't have a stage name, and Euronymous only performed at one show on the 22nd of March 1986 under the name, it says L.E.G.O, which I'm assuming is Lego. It's very confusing. This was their side project focused on experimental music that challenged mainstream conventions.
It sounds like the other stuff was very mainstream that they were doing. God,
right?
As if they'd need to go, yeah.
Anyway, back to Death Crush, which was limited to only 1,000 copies, which quickly sold out.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was. Skip ahead a little bit. It was later reissued in 1993 by newly renamed Deathlike Silence Productions in collaboration with Euronymous' Oslo specialist record shop Helvete, Norwegian for hell.
Okay.
Anyway, Maniac departed the band in 1988.
Fair enough. He's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to settle down with my
and I'm
kids
not sure if
a
you
wife.
clocked it yet, but this is a bit of a story where they keep leaving. After two brief replacements, the roles of vocalist and drummer in Mayhem were filled by Swedish vocalist Pelle Ingve-Olin, I'm going to go with.
Very good.
And this is why I wasn't doing the names. So
it's pretty good. It's not as good as my Spanish pronunciations from the last episode.
It's up there, but not quite. Yeah.
No, it was shocking. Yep.
So his stage name was Dead.
Wasn't that bad? Come on.
So Dead was the vocalist. And
sometimes I think when people translate into when it's not their first language, they think it's edgier and I'm like, oh mate,
Death would have been better than
so when you see things printed on people's t-shirts when you're traveling and you go, you've got no idea that makes no sense or it's entirely inappropriate, whatever else. I feel like that whenever it's, English is not their first language.
I promise you, Dead knew what he was doing when he called himself Dead. And
sorry, you are right.
And we'll get to that.
It's just
when you
corny,
get mistranslated stuff. Like I once bought a fridge for the houseboat, and it said that you should wash it with the same soap that you would use to wash your bowels. It meant bowls.
Jeepers, yes.
Oh, bowel soap. Okay.
What is that soap? And so the local drummer was Hellhammer. So we've now got a vocalist and a drummer again.
Dead and Hellhammer?
That rings a bell, actually.
Dead and Hellhammer, yeah.
Maybe not.
With Dead, the band's concerts gained notoriety for their extreme theatricality and atmosphere. I wonder if they have been on Eurovision.
Weird Europeans.
Right. From the outset of his career, Dead was known for wearing corpse paint, involving the application of black and white makeup to achieve a ghastly appearance. According to Necrobutcher, it wasn't anything to do with the way Kiss and Alice Cooper used makeup. Dead actually wanted to look like a corpse. He didn't do it to look cool. Hellhammer asserted that Dead was the first black metal musician to use corpse paint. To complete his corpse-like image, Dead would bury his stage clothes and dig them up to wear on concert nights.
See, I just think trying so hard.
I mean, it just looks like Dirty Kiss.
Dirty Kiss.
Well, no, seriously, you go look up.
It's one of the Pussycat.
And he just looks like a Kiss wannabe But he's smudged some dirt on his face too.
Oh, he's way, way more involved than Kiss, I tell you. During performances, Dead would often cut himself with hunting knives and broken glass.
Oh, he's a loon. Okay.
Kiss didn't do that. The band frequently featured.
Sorry, he's not a loon. He's committed.
Well, to be fair, Gene did the little blood thing.
Gene did bite the.
Which we thought was controversial.
Did the bat's head? Yeah, he did. He bit his pill, didn't he?
What's his face? Allegedly
actually do it. The band frequently featured pig or sheep heads impaled on stakes at the front of the stage.
Gross.
Oh, imagine the smell.
I know. I was just thinking that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unless it was fresh kill, then it's fine.
That's right. Yeah. As long as it's being over coals,
I would,
it's all right.
Because if you might recall, we used to have a pig hung in our. I've spoken about this before, Swanee. Don't do the face. As Hungarians, we used to do like a butchering of a pig every winter, and we'd have a pig slaughtered, not by ourselves, and it would be hung in the shed for about.
In the cool room. There's no problem.
But that's different.
Weeks.
That's not like.
But it wasn't stinky, and it wasn't for weeks. It was hung for maybe a week to bleed out, and then we'd butcher it.
People do that here for weeks. It's not uncommon.
In cold weather. My point is,
I get it.
Cool
and
room.
these people are Norse, right? So where are they performing
cold
where
weather,
they're putting
plenty?
Yeah, cold pig heads. They're not going to stink. It's fine.
I don't know. We think they are. They might have to do like little local club scene for all we know. They're not that fucking big. They might be doing the local Norwegian RSL clubs, community club. A bit warm underneath there, carpets, working the Norwegian workers' men's clubs.
I know it's not Norway, but it's your favourite place, boys, Iceland. Have you seen Will Ferrell's Fire Saga, the story of Eurovision?
Oh, Eurovision.
Yeah.
We went to the Eurovision Cafe.
Ding Dong.
Yeah, Ding Dong was a song we played every day as we drove around. So good. Yep. Right. So in 1990, Swanee, we're 6 years on.
Things have been tracking. Have they been increasing in their popularity?
Oh, they're going off.
They're going great guns.
So together they've moved to an old house in a forest near Oslo, which they used as a rehearsal space. And they began writing songs for their next album, which was De Mysteris Dom Sathanas, or something like that. Necrobutcher noted that after living together for a time, Dead and Euronymous got on each other's nerves a lot and weren't really friends at the end. Hellhammer recalled an incident where Dead once went outside to sleep in the woods because Euronymous was playing synthesizer music that Dead detested.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Euronymous then followed him outside, shooting into the air with a shotgun. On the 8th of April,
I'm so disappointed in you.
The silliness of it all, really. Oh, my God, they just love the drama. It's also theatrical.
On April the 8th, 1991, Dead committed suicide in the house rented by the band. He was found by Euronymous, who discovered him with slit wrists and a shotgun wound to the head.
Again, overkill.
Dead's suicide note began, Swanee, this is how I know Dead knew what he was doing when he named himself Dead. Dead's suicide note began with, "Excuse all the blood," and included an explanation. "Nobody will ever understand this, but as a sort of explanation, I am not human. This is only a dream, and I will soon awake." The note concluded with the phrase, "I didn't come up with this now, but 17 years ago."
Okay. Can I just ask, how many drugs was he on at the time?
Have they all grown up yet? What?
It's very Heathers.
It's just, I'm scarier than you. I'm darker than you. No, I am.
Yeah. I'm deader than you.
You're the scariest. I'm deader than
now.
You.
God. So then, attached to the note were the lyrics to the song "Life Eternal."
Oh, what?
So he's written a song.
Because he's not really dead. He's eternally alive, and he's
but it's like a promo for his song from the afterworld. It's terrible. Upon discovering Dead's body, Euronymous went to a nearby store, purchased a disposable camera, and photographed the corpse after rearranging certain items.
What the fuck? It gets weirder and weirder.
It is so ridiculous. Occultus, who briefly took over as vocalist after Dead's suicide, commented on him. He, dead, didn't see himself as human. He saw himself as a creature from another world. He said he had many visions that his blood had frozen in his veins, that he was dead. This is the reason he took the name. He knew he would die. How's the crazy level for the story so far?
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. And the mum part of me is annoyed. And, the getting older part of me is also annoyed. I think they're really indulging themselves with some, oh my God, we're so dark. Mm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Aren't we just the craziest?
Cheer up, emo kid.
Exactly.
Oh, we are so unsympathetic. Okay.
I want to get a T-shirt that says "Cheer up, emo kid." Anyway, so
and if you'd like a T-shirt that says "Cheer up, emo kid," email us at trouble1.com.
Yeah.
We might create
them. We'll do a batch run.
Yeah, we might.
So if you think we're at crazy level 10, hold my beer. Or hold my wine. Euronymous apparently called Necrobutcher up the next day. This is according to Necrobutcher.
And said, come and cut this body up because you're a Necrobutcher.
Nope. That's what you would think he would say.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Dead has done something really cool. He killed himself. And Necrobutcher thought, have you lost it? What do you mean cool? And Euronymous says, relax. I have photos of everything. So Necrobutcher says he was in shock and grief, and Euronymous was thinking how he could exploit Dead's death.
So far, Necrobutcher, in the strangest of ways, apart from his self-proclaimed name, seems the most sane.
He seems like he's actually acting.
He's showing a level of
he was just a musician who liked metal. And
he was a bit theatrical with it.
Didn't expect this shit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Euronymous subsequently used Dead's suicide to cultivate Mayhem's evil image, claiming that Dead had taken his life due to the commercialization of black metal.
Oh, it's disgusting.
In time, rumours circulated that Euronymous had made a stew.
Is really angry now.
Yeah, no, get ready, Catherine Knight. Rumours circulated that Euronymous had made a stew from bits of Dead's brain. And fashioned necklaces from fragments of his skull. Norse broth. Fucking hell.
Just to bring it back to the beginning, yeah.
So the band later denied the former rumour, confirming only the latter, which is that he fashioned necklaces from fragments of his skull.
Sorry, what? Hang on, track back. I thought that was all made up. They confirmed that someone fashioned necklaces of his skull.
Yes, they denied that he made stew, or what is it, Norse broth from Dead's brain, but they confirmed that he fashioned necklaces from fragments of his skull.
Isn't that interfering with the corpse? Isn't that like a punishable offence already?
I mean, who knows in the world of Norwegian black metal? All bets are on, apparently. Moreover, Euronymous claimed to have given the necklaces to musicians he deemed worthy, a claim supported by several others in the scene, including Bard Faust Audun and John Metallion, or maybe Metallion, Christensen. In 2018, a fragment of Dead's skull went on sale for $3,500.
Oh, my God.
I just saw your face.
That's recent, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is shocking.
Yes. It's so ridiculous. And why would you let your son go to this concert? I mean, to be fair, she didn't know the detail of it. So anyway, my God.
How old's the son?
16.
Because I was going to say, if you were going to say he was like 50 years old, like our age, because he's going through it at this time, I was going to say that guy needs to grow up a bit. But that's what's quite worrisome is the fact that he obviously knows how old they are and that he's interested in it now.
He probably knows the whole story.
Oh, for sure. That's probably why he likes them, truth be told.
Yeah, quite possibly. The fragment of Dead's skull went on sale for $3,500, accompanied by a letter from Euronymous stating, okay, that should be all. I'm enclosing a little piece of Dead's cranium in case you'd like to have it. Hear from you soon.
Oh. Who the fuck is he talking to? What?
This is the letter.
Sorry. In my mind, this piece of skull went on sale on eBay. So why is he enclosing a letter? But okay, who did he sell it to? What?
Well, it just says it went on sale, so I don't know that he sold it. In a 2019 interview with Loudwire and Consequence of Sound, still on there, Necrobutcher stated that he had contemplated killing Euronymous due to his treatment of Dead. So he's not happy, Necrobutcher. And I
appreciate it, but also Dead was already dead, so don't kill Euronymous because then you're going to go to jail for that. Or are you? Because someone has just like smashed up Dead's head and sold bits of it off. It's like, what the fuck?
That was
Euronymous exploited
suicide.
Dead suicide. So Necrohammer wants to kill Euronymous, but I'm saying don't do that.
It's not. It's Necrobutcher. Hellhammer. Far out.
Get it right. How hard is it?
It's very hard. Butcher wanted to kill Euronymous.
Can you create a Cert 3 in Norwegian black metal names so that everyone can understand?
It's got to be done.
It's at least 400 nominal hours. There's so much working through the names. So, sorry, Necro Butcher wanted to kill Euromancer because...
Had contemplated, yeah.
Yeah, well, but don't do that.
But had a filter and so didn't do it.
And because he's actually not as mad as the others. By the sound of it.
Who? Hang on, who was that?
Necrohammer.
Necrobutcher.
Yes.
Sorry, Necrobutcher. I don't know where the hammer comes from.
Was going to kill Euronymous.
Yeah.
No, Hellhammer.
What about it? Oh, Hellhammer's someone else. Right.
I'm confused. Who thought about it?
Necrobutcher.
Considered it.
Killing Euronymous, but didn't.
Got it.
So fans of the band...
I mean, we've all thought about killing Euronymous. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So there's a trend amongst fans of the band of using blood in artwork. And notably, Hellhammer, not Necrobutcher, himself penned the lyrics to Pagan Fears in his own blood in October 2019.
Oh, fuck off.
They don't try hard at all, this lot, do they?
Dead's suicide and Euronymous' actions following it profoundly affected Necrobutcher, prompting him to leave Mayhem, which reduced the band to 2 members. Yep.
And now he's just Bob. Yeah.
Now he's just Bob. The group rehearsed briefly thereafter with Occultus.
He's down at the RSL singing, ya, ding dong.
Ding dong.
And he's much happier for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're back down to 2. They were doing some rehearsing with Occultus, who joined with plans to begin recording vocal and bass tracks for Mayhem's debut album. Occultus is another member.
I figured that, yep.
Yeah.
Occultus or Occultist?
Yeah, Occultus, US. However, this arrangement was short-lived. Occultus departed the band after receiving a death threat from Euronymous.
Euronymous is still in the band, isn't he?
He is still in the band.
How do you receive it? Like he just walked in and said, I'm going to kill you.
I'll fucking kill you. Yeah.
I'm out of here. Okay, right. Okay, I'll see you later. Not.
In July 1993, Live in Leipzig was released as the band's tribute to Dead. Can you call a tribute Live in Leipzig to Dead who is dead? It's
a tricky sentence, I'll give you that.
Oh, it's nonsense. In late 1992, recording for Mayhem's upcoming album resumed, leading Euronymous to enlist 3 additional session musicians. Burzum's Varg Vikernes, whose stage name was Count Grishnak, and Blackthorn. They played bass guitar and rhythm guitar. So Count Grishnak was bass guitar and Blackthorn was rhythm guitar. And they got vocalist Attila Sihar, that's probably said wrong, of the Hungarian black metal band Tormentor. I was going to
say, he sounds Hungarian if he's an Attila, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a name either other than his normal name, which is weird. Due to complaints from his parents, Euronymous closed his central record shop, Helvete, which was hell, citing adverse media and police attention as reasons, says no record shop owner ever. To coincide the album's release, Euronymous and Count Grishnak conspired to blow up Nidaros Cathedral, which is featured on the album cover. However, that plan was brought to a halt when Euronymous was murdered in August 1993, delaying the album's release.
By who? Do we know
who? before I get onto that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Count Grishnak, a.k.a. Varg Vikernes.
Don't get me wrong, because I'm not a fan of Euronymous, but yeah, go on.
So when Count Grishnak was 6 years old, his family moved for about a year to Baghdad because his father was working for Saddam Hussein developing a computer program. Since there were no places available in the English school in Baghdad, the young Count Grishnak went to an Iraqi elementary school during this time. According to his interview, Count Grishnak's interview...
This is insane. Swanee's lost it. She's like, what the fuck are we listening to?
Count Grishnak.
Grishnak is
primary school in Baghdad. Well, when they say you couldn't make it up, you really couldn't make this one up.
Swanee, I did say this story writes itself.
My God. Absolutely. You are not wrong. I am so glad I didn't do one today. This is brilliant. This is so good.
It's just a shame you're not drinking with us because you'd find it.
I didn't even name it.
I just lost my mind over this.
Grishnak, Vaz Vahazaz, yeah.
So, according to Count Grishnak's interview, it's here he became aware of racial matters. Corporal punishment was very common in school, and on one occasion, Count Grishnak had a quarrel with a teacher and called him a monkey.
Quarrel, love it.
Oh, we're back at monkey magic. Yep. Called him a monkey.
But as he perceived it, the teachers didn't dare to hit him because he was white.
I hope they did smack him one.
Count Grishnak's mother also recalls that the other children in his class would get slapped by their teachers, but Count Grishnak would not. She mentioned that this created problems, but generally she had no good explanation of how Count Grishnak developed his views.
Well, she should have got into the school and said, you need to smack my kid as much as you smack everyone else.
Correct. When asked about his father, Count Grishnak states that he was hysterical that his son had a swastika flag at home.
Hysterical and I kind of thought it was really funny or was into some kind of terrible hysterics over it.
Count Grishnak feels that his father was a hypocrite because all he was worried about was Count Grishnak being a Nazi, whereas he too was pissed about all the coloured people he saw in town.
So his father was a racist, but he didn't like that his son was a Nazi.
Correct. So Count Grishnak says his father was a racist and he didn't like it.
It's very complicated, yeah.
It's very complicated. This is why we need Cert 3 in Norwegian death metal. Count Grishnak states that his mother was very race conscious in the sense that she was afraid that Count Grishnak was going to come home with a black girl. Anyway, that's his early years. Now let's get into his music.
I'm sure it's amazing.
Well, it's going to be less about the music and more about some other things.
Oh.
He started playing guitar when he was 14. He began his solo music career under the name Burzum and recorded 4 albums under this name in 1992 and 93, so he's just punched them out. In 1992, the Fantoft Stave Church, which dated back to the 12th century, was burned to the ground by arson. The cover of Burzum's EP, Ask, meaning ashes, is a photograph of the destroyed church. By January 1993, 7 other major stave churches had been burned to the ground. Count Grishnak was found guilty of several of these.
Burning churches down?
Yeah. He was found not guilty of the Fantoft Stave Church, which he used on his album cover.
But all the others were him.
But apparently it was the jury that found him not guilty, but the judge said, yeah, but you still did it. We just can't get you on it now or something.
Right.
Let's go back to the murder of Euronymous. Here's how it went down. On the 10th of August 1993, Count Grishnak and Rook, I can't remember who he was, maybe somebody whose name I read out earlier or skipped over. Yeah, let's go with that. Travelled 518 kilometres from Bergen to Euronymous's apartment in Oslo. Upon their arrival, a confrontation ensued, culminating in Count Grishnak fatally stabbing Euronymous. His body was discovered outside the apartment, bearing 23 stab wounds, 2 to the head, 5 to the neck, and 16 to the back.
Shit, to the head?
Count Grishnak contends that Euronymous had plotted to torture him to death and videotaped the event, using a meeting about an unsigned contract as a pretext. On the night of the murder, Count Grishnak claims he intended to present Euronymous with a signed contract and tell him to fuck off.
He's going to resent him with a signed contract.
Present.
And fuck off. I resent you with a signed contract. Now fuck off. Yeah.
Yes, good call. But that Euronymous attacked him first. Additionally, Count Grishnak claimed that most of Euronymous' stab wounds were inflicted by broken glass he fell onto during the struggle. Count Grishnak was arrested within days, and a few months later, he went to trial. Oh, gosh. Who's that other bloke? I've got to do some
Attila?
Norwegian death metal name research.
I am looking at some of their names of their songs. Chainsaw Guts Fuck.
Oh. Oh, God.
I don't fancy a guts fuck.
With a chainsaw? It's a hard no from the crowd.
Fuck, buried by time and dust. Chainsaw guts fuck is pretty harsh. 1993.
Jesus.
Live in Leipzig.
Yeah.
I've heard of Live in Leipzig. I don't know why I'd know that name.
Yeah, no, I've heard that too, but I don't know.
Why would I know it? Yeah.
I don't know if somebody else did a live version.
It sounds super familiar for some reason.
I agree. So Blackthorn, who waited with Count Grishnak downstairs and played no role in Euronymous' murder, was charged with complicity and sentenced to 8 years in prison.
Oh.
During Count Grishnak's trial, the media made him out to be the nation's first real bogeyman. And this is the bit I found odd. In 50 years. So not the nation's first real bogeyman, the nation's first real bogeyman in 50 years. I don't know who the other one was.
Well,
how many real bogeymen there have been. At the trial, it was claimed that Count Grishnak, Blackthorn, and another friend had planned the murder. The court alleged that this third person stayed at the apartment in Bergen as an alibi to make it look like they never left Bergen. He was to rent films, play them in the apartment, and withdraw money from Count Grishnak's credit card so that there was all those transactions.
It looked like
he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, on the 16th of May 1994, Count Grishnak was sentenced to 21 years in prison, the maximum sentence in Norway for both the murder and the church arsons.
This story's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
So ridiculous. Gosh, and there's still a bit to go. So that's it for the real mayhem of mayhem. But I'll tell you more about Count Grishnak.
You make a good point. They were very well named. Yeah.
I want to go back to, what did your friend say to you when the conversation was about where her son was, or they were in Melbourne going to this show? How did that start? Did she say, "Oh, we're good off to see a show tonight"?
Well, no, we were at a.
Tell me how that all went down.
We were in Wodonga at Red Hot Summer Tour, and so we're sitting around, lots of time to talk. And so she started telling me... Red Hot Summer Tour
doesn't sound like Mayhem are going to be at Red Hot Summer Tour.
No, they're not. Ice Houseware and the Baby Animals, all the Aussie classics.
Yeah, I was going to say, same. Not a lot of death
not a lot of mayhem.
No.
But so she was talking about her son, and so how her son and her husband had gone to see this band.
Yeah.
And because she tells me a little bit, because she listens to us a bit, she said that the band he went and saw, one of the band members had killed another one.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? How did that happen?
That's piqued my interest.
Yeah, she goes, I don't really know. And I'm like, well, we're going to have to find out. And that's why I was like, straight to trial by wine. I'm doing this story.
Oh, my God. That has been a gift.
It has been a gift.
It is. I just can't believe this. This is the kind of stuff I want to find when I go looking for a story.
Yeah, like it's really crazy. Right, so this is all about his time in jail, and I swear this could be a story in itself if I went and looked into a bit more detail. But anyway, I'll just give you the highlights. So he was sentenced on...
Just the highlights.
He was sentenced in 1994. On the 8th of April 1997, Norwegian police arrested 5 neo-Nazis in Hemnes municipality. According to police, the young men were part of a self-styled Einsatzgruppe, which I guess is something to do with being a Nazi, who were plotting attacks on political and religious figures in Norway. They also had plans to break Count Grishnak out of prison. The group had all the trappings of a paramilitary. I can't speak now.
You're a bit overwhelmed.
I'm very whelmed. The group had all the trappings of a paramilitary unit, including guns, explosives, bulletproof vests, steel helmets, and balaclavas.
So the Einsatzgruppen were mobile killing squads that were part of the SS. So they've fashioned themselves on that. Yeah.
Right, yes.
I just read a book this last week.
That makes more sense. Did you?
Yeah, I did. It was like part of our book club. It was called City of Thieves. It was excellent. It was about the siege of Leningrad. And when they were out, trying to escape and whatever else, they came across, what were they? Could you say it again, Schmitty?
Einsatzgruppe.
Yes. They are like the killing machine.
Well, they had all that stuff.
Yeah.
So one of its members, Tom Iternes, maybe, had befriended Count Grishnak in prison before escaping while on leave. Count Grishnak's mother was arrested for supplying the group with 100,000 kroner. She confessed but claimed she did not know they were right-wing extremists and said her son was being attacked by fellow inmates. In late 1996, his jaw had reportedly been broken in a fight with another inmate. However, the prison director said her claims were unfounded and police suspected that the money came from Count Grishnak himself. Lords of Chaos, I don't know who Lords of Chaos is, anyway. I'm sure everyone else does. Yep. Yeah, there's too many names, I can't keep up with them all. Says that Count Grishnak adopted a skinhead look and wore a belt buckle with SS insignia around the time.
It's going full right-wing Nazi bullshit, yeah?
Yeah. During his time in prison, Count Grishnak recorded 2 albums made up wholly of ambient and neo-folk music.
I often wonder why more people in prison don't
make
record albums. And I don't know. I mean, surely there must be recording studios available to them to be able to make albums.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and they wouldn't have the groundswell of people wanting them to record more music after.
Where's Count? Oh, he's down the recording studio again. Well, when he's finished down there, tell him he's got to help out clean the toilets. Oh, no, he's in the recording studio.
He was going to get 2 weeks in the slot, but he got 2 weeks in the recording studio because the slot was already full.
What's annoying is he should be making those fucking number plates, but he's down there making bullshit neo-folk.
Making music.
Correct. However, here's part of the thing, Swanee. Count Grishnak was denied access to an electric guitar, bass guitar, or drums, and instead used a synthesizer.
Oh, what?
So it's not all.
He had to leave the house earlier because of the
not all shits and giggles.
Yeah,
that's right.
He had to just bullshit it with a synth.
So in 2000, Count Grishnak decided to put Burzum on hold. He believed that his philosophy was constantly misinterpreted by an ignorant fan base that was too closely related to black metal and Satanism.
Yeah, he's probably right, though.
Later, through his website, he indicated that he hoped to continue Burzum after his release from prison, stating, "I will publish a few books, possibly using a pseudonym in order to stay anonymous, and perhaps a Burzum album or 2, but that's it."
Euronymous.
Not Euronymous, anonymous. In the early 2000s, Count Grishnak regularly wrote articles in the magazine of the neo-pagan neo-Nazi group, Vigrid. It's a lot of neos.
I love when magazines used to be a real thing, didn't they? Magazine for everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them had the non-see-through plastic wrapping on them, so if you knew about it, then you could get it.
This one probably came with, gift with purchase. Maybe like a little SS belt or some other sort of bullshit Nazi paraphernalia.
Yeah, gift fake with tattoos.
So when you used to go to the news agency and it was like a sea of magazines and options and topics and subjects and gifts and little giveaways. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Weren't they the days?
So, in August 2003, Count Grishnak was transferred from a maximum security prison in Bergen to a low security prison in Tonsberg, or maybe Tunsberg. Greta? On the 15th of October, the local paper.
Tonsberg. It's Tunberg.
Yeah, but this town is not.
Okay.
I'm just saying it could be similar to that.
Okay.
Tonsberg's Blood published an article that criticised Count Grishnak. On the 26th of October, Count Grishnak went on the run after being granted a short leave. He stopped a car in Numedal.
On the run, do-do-do-do-do-do, Knack on the run.
Count on the run.
Count on the run.
Count on the run.
Do-do-do-do-do,
count on the run. Oh,
so
God.
The car that he stopped had a family inside it who said that he hijacked the car at gunpoint. About 19 hours later, police stopped the car in Romarek and arrested him. The car contained knives, a gas mask, camouflage clothing, a portable GPS navigator, maps, a compass, a laptop, and a mobile phone. Police also found a handgun and G3 automatic rifle in a cabin in Rolag municipality where Count Grishnak had hidden during his escape.
Gosh, do you think he had any help?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm exhausted just reading
He had
all
of that. He'd bought that all out from prison with him.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he doesn't travel lightly.
He had 2 weeks in the armory when the slot and the recording studio were full. They concluded that his escape was well planned and Swanee involved assistance from several people on the outside. You could have been a policewoman. Before the escape, Count Grishnak gave his mother a letter. In it, he wrote that he had received death threats and another inmate had tried to strangle him shortly after the newspaper's article was published. For his actions, 13 months were added to Count Grishnak's sentence and he was moved to a prison in Ringerike. In July 2004, he was moved to a maximum security prison in Trondheim. The last 3 years of his sentence were spent in Tromsø prison. When Count Grishnak was convicted, it was possible that he would be released on parole after serving 12 years of a 21-year sentence. In June 2006, after serving 12 years, Count Grishnak was denied parole by the Department of Criminal Justice.
Because he's a fucking psycho.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
The bit I didn't understand was that he could have been released after 12 years of his 21-year sentence, but in 2002, before he became eligible, the Norwegian Parliament had extended this to 14 years. And so when he was eligible, they knocked it back because his 12 years had been extended to 14 years.
Don't care.
And his lawyer wowed about it because he said it was a change of the change was a form of retroactive legislation.
Could you imagine trying to let someone like that who is displaying all those behaviours inside quite openly, arguing to let them out? Oh, that would be
a bit of a job, but that's their job.
Yeah. He was denied parole again in June 2008, although he was allowed to leave Tromsø prison for short periods to visit his family. His full sentence would run for another 7 years, and then in March 2009, his parole was announced. Yes, so following his time in prison, he's continued releasing music as Burzum and became a video blogger on his YouTube channel, Thulian Perspective. This one's a bit disturbing. Count Grishnak was one of the recipients of far-right terrorist Anders Breivik's manifesto.
I wondered if he was going to come into this.
Which he sent out before launching his 2011 Norway attacks, killing 77 people.
Jesus.
Although Count Grishnak condemned Breivik's actions, this drew the attention of the French authorities. Well, and he was found out of prison with all of that arsenal and camouflage and stuff. Sounds like he was going to do exactly the same thing. On the 16th of July 2013, Verkerns and his wife, a French national, were arrested at their home in Corrèze in France. Is that how you say it? Maybe, maybe not. On suspicion of planning acts of terrorism after his wife bought 4 rifles. Officials later stated that Count Grishnak's wife had a legal firearms permit to buy the rifles. The 2 were later released without charge and police failed to identify any terrorist plans or targets. Count Grishnak was instead charged by French authorities with inciting racial hatred against Jews and Muslims. This was due to his posts on his blog Thulian Perspective, which included anti-Semitic posts that were taken down following the charges. Count Grishnak claimed he had not written the posts, although the blog attributed all posts to him. On the 8th of July 2014, Count Grishnak was convicted of inciting racial hatred and sentenced to 6 months of probation and a fine of €8,000.
Is he still in France? I would have thought they'd send him back.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Okay.
His wife is French, though, so I think it's complicated.
Okay.
YouTube removed Count Grishnak's channel from the platform in July 2019, by which point it had 250,000 subscribers. This coincided with an announcement from YouTube that it would be more aggressive in removing videos alleging the group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion. So that's it for Count Grishnak. A little bit more about Mayhem. The band went on to release 6 albums up to 2019, and in 2021, they were inducted into the Rockheim Hall of Fame. They were the first black metal group to receive this honour. Well, they were the first, so...
Yeah.
Mayhem also announced a 2022 United States tour titled The Sanguine Sodomy of North America, which began on March the 7th with a show in San Francisco and was projected to conclude on April the 3rd after a performance in Illinois. However, on March the 4th...
I thought there was a however coming.
Yeah. Watain announced that they would not be able to participate on the tour due to a United States Embassy deciding to launch an additional undisclosed administrative process in relation to their visa applications.
Idiots.
Fuck off, we don't want you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much they toured post that.
Well, I don't know. When you launch a tour titled The Sanguine Sodomy of anything...
like what?
No,
it's a hard no from North America. But so I'll take you back to the start where Beat Magazine said utter carnage is set to be unleashed on Australia in January as pioneer black metal act Mayhem hits our shores. I'm going to go with everything that happened up to that date was utter carnage.
Carnage, yeah.
Yes.
Sada Abe, utter carnage, yeah.
Yeah, utter carnage, exactly. What a story. What do you think?
I can't believe it. I think it's incredible.
It's insane.
Far out from the
beginning
vaults of
to
truth
end.
is
There's
stranger
some
than
really
fiction.
fucked up men in that story.
Yeah.
Who I would say found a degree of, I don't think comfort's the right word, but some kind of identity with each other, and then just amplified that and just lost sense of what is normal, what is real, and just act like absolute, forgive me, but fuckwits. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That's what I was wondering if any of them had grown up enough, but I don't know. Obviously the two that were, one died by suicide, one was murdered. And then we've got Count
Grishnak.
I think the most mature of them was...
No, I don't think it's going to ever change.
No, Necro Butcher. The one who was like, I'm out. There were multiple people who were like, I'm out early on.
So I'm assuming that the ones who are now touring...
Normal. Who's touring now? Yeah.
Well, they're people our age.
Well, of course
they are.
One
of them are still peanuts. They're grown up, hopefully.
Who are the members now?
Do you know, they were young 20, 30-something-year-olds when all this other shit was going on.
The band is like that trick where you have 3 cups and a ball under one of them. You've got to try to work out who's still in the band.
Oh, Attila's still in the band, according to YouTube. And
who is?
Google. Attila.
Oh, yeah.
And Hellhammer.
Yeah.
And someone called Telok and Ghoul.
Yeah, so all the ones who didn't keep their names apart from Hellhammer.
So when your friend told you this, you were not aware of the details. You just thought there was something, and then you went and stumbled on that.
100%.
You must have just been going, what? Oh my God. Stu.
I don't know.
Ring the bell.
I don't know what you've got to Google search for that to come up, but I feel like I'd Google searched everything.
It would never have come up.
No.
It's mind-blowing.
It is indeed. I think we need to have a bit of chainsaw guts fuck, though.
It's the punishment, or you got to play it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is from the 1993 Death Crush album.
You get a job on Kerrang, Schmitty.
Chainsaw Guts Fuck.
I mean, if I wasn't angry already, that would make me angry.
Here you go.
Oh.
You're going to get some sound, get some vocals.
Weirdly, Cyndi Lauper didn't cover this on the weekend.
I'm waiting for the vocals. It's so boring.
Is it an instrumental? There we go.
Exactly that.
He does. They have a nice voice, though.
The harmonies are amazing.
I don't love the music, but the voice, I can. Yeah.
I can't.
You can see why they.
I mean, it's just not my style of music. It's just not my style of music.
No, I can't.
As I say, that quirky Indian who used to live with Andy loved a bit of metal. And Kerrang was all the time. Yeah.
Well, Kerrang must still be a thing because when I Googled something before, it came up as one of the sources. Can you believe it?
I can. Well, what do you think about sentencing, guys?
Oh.
I'm going to sentence all of the perpetrators of this story, whether they're right-wing, they're, suicidal, church burning, or whatever they are. I'm going to throw back to an old episode, and I'm going to sentence them to the part of Trial by Wine World where we have the Disney It's a Small World ride.
Oh.
Because instead of hearing that that interesting musical choice that we just heard, I would like them to be sentenced to a musical world that is so beyond everything that's supposed to be good about things. Like the whole thing about Disney is replicating It's a Small World. Here we go. Let's do this one instead. Not a world of guns, nor a world of stabbings.
And we don't chainsaw guts, fuck.
That's right. And so that's my sentence. We're going to send them on the It's a Small World ride forever.
Oh, God.
And we don't
chainsaw guts, fuck. I know there's obvious crimes, but I feel like there's still so many other crimes in amongst that. Like, the murderer is cut and dry, but there's crimes against humanity in there because people shouldn't behave like them.
Down historic buildings as well.
They're disgusting.
They're just disgusting.
Yeah. They really
I think
are,
I don't know what my punishment is, but where I keep coming back to is when people like that think that they have an audience and they've got support, then they tend to their voice or their ideas are amplified and they think, oh God, yeah, I'm right. This is the way I want it to be. People really love this. And that just makes me feel so uncomfortable because unfortunately, certainly with this kind of stuff, is there are so many people who are so disaffected and unhappy, oh my God. So it's all the stuff that's really, death. Oh my God, how can we be more controversial as a starting point for the ban? And I just find so much of where this started, and a lot of it's just bullshit. It's just this theatrical idea, like what is suffering, what is pain, what is anxiety, all of these things still at that age for them. A lot of them are ideas, because they haven't had enough life experience to understand that maybe not being able to pay a bill or something like that is the stuff that really gets you in the pit of your stomach and thinks, God, how am I going to put food on the table or pay for my kids? It's stuff that's different. All this stuff is early life, really theatrical. Oh my God, it's so, let's make it more gory, more controversial, more. And people are going, oh yeah, this is like outrageous.
It's drama.
Totally, but it's all the drama that comes with that. And I just sort of think, most people tend to sort of grow up, or that can be a stage persona. And then they, certainly if you look at the likes of Ozzy Osbourne or whatever, or someone like that, they're living like their lives are like, they're living like kings because they've made all this money out of this music. Meanwhile, these young, impressionable people go, oh my God, I'll go and kill for them. I'll do whatever. It's kind of like I think they've been enlisted. And it's getting people to understand that, you can't.
It's all theatre.
It's experience. It is all theatre. And that's what, to me, a lot of this sort of
it's an act.
Extreme death metal and whatever it is. Then you deal with someone like Count
Grishnak.
He is just
a weirdo.
No, he's next level something else.
Well, psycho.
Well, he's a Nazi. He'd quite happily say that he is. So, and his piece of work and what he then does and, you know, who he says he is another step compared to what these guys are doing and go, oh, you know, we're makeup. We're wearing the scariest death makeup.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Pigs' heads on their stage.
Yeah. You know,
it's very Beavis and Butthead, isn't it?
Look at us. And that's where I sort of think, oh, God, if there was a punishment, just that their audience or who they thought was sort of on their side, that they would turn on them and go, what is this? You guys, I've just found out who you guys were at school. You were the ones who felt a little bit, so now you think that by saying all this kind of stuff and being that makes
it's
you
a bit like
better.
the Wizard of Oz, you know, when he's scary and all-powerful kind of thing, but then actually find out he's just some dodgy old little man. Yeah,
with a voice and all the theatrics that come with it.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors. But I have found that story to be absolutely incredible, really. And the way that you came across it, I think, again, incredible.
Count Grishnak, what a fuckwit.
Wow, he's dark.
I didn't actually see him being the evil one.
I didn't know that was where we're headed. You went to start with.
Circuitous. It took so long to get to Count Grishnak. He was
to get to him.
Player.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden it's like he was the really darkest one in all of it. But interesting, like when you would go through the story, I was thinking, gosh, isn't it interesting how you view a country and its citizens? It's basically the stories and the folklore and all these different things that come into play. And I couldn't remember his surname, but Anders the mass killer. And he popped into my mind. And I thought, gosh, the only one I really know is that. So when you said that he had spent his manifesto to him, I was like, oh God, he really is that shitty.
Yeah, he's in the club.
Oh, he's very much in the club, and he's what we call it, card-carrying
Nazi.
Yeah, it's like, hey, that's who I am. There's no
handbag carrying Tinky Winky. Wasn't that one of the
that would be better.
The Teletubbies?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Very
interesting.
That was.
You can thank your friend for that introduction.
I know, God.
Extraordinary story.
Yeah. What episode are we at? 189 to come up with that.
189. Well, we've got 11 more to come up with something really spectacular for the 200th.
Damn, I should have held that one off. That would have been a good one for 200.
Yeah, now you got to improve on that. And
I'm so glad I didn't get a shitty story. That was so good. What did you say? I missed that.
I said I nearly said top yourself, but I meant, do better.
Yeah. Outdo yourself. Outdo yourself.
Yeah,
outdo yourself. That's what I said. You have to do better. Great job. Weirdest story. I think that was a corker. I think the whole Norse bit helped. In as much as all the weird names and it allows
I think all the
separation.
fucked up shit helped.
You know what I mean? Like it makes it separated from
yeah.
Like
the names help too, I think.
On that note, as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.